welcome once again to our monthly sit-down with Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly here at Brewer Media Group. And Tim, we are having a lot of quality of life things going on here in a positive way.
Yes, it's that time of year in Chattanooga.
Yes, it is. And let's start off with the whole market value analysis. What is it and what is it saying?
Well, it's a study telling us what's happened here with housing in the last few years, and I think it verified what we already knew, frankly, which is sometimes valuable. A lot of the new housing's going into the wealthiest and most successful areas, so it's kind of those who are doing well tend to do better sort of thing. So we've got a lot of work to do around affordable housing, and it just gives us that much more information that we need to focus on the areas of greatest need.
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword because property values in certain neighborhoods have definitely been going up, and that's a good thing, but at the same token, there's a lot of issues with affordable housing, especially with people that are unhoused. Well,
yeah, the unhoused is a big part of it, but it's also teachers and firefighters and cops who right now, at base income, can't afford to buy a house in the city of Chattanooga, and if we keep on this path, we'll have a deficit of like 7,000 affordable housing units. And again, I'm not talking just public housing. I mean just workforce housing that working Chattanoogas can afford to buy. So this supports our efforts around affordable housing. And again, we have a housing action plan now, which is almost 100 pages of very specific prescriptions to address this. And so we're looking forward to getting started.
And we look at certain areas around town. I mean, we talk about the whole riverfront and, this grand expansion and all these fantastic plans. I noticed very quickly that there was a huge focus on making the housing there affordable, approachable.
Well, right. I mean, we need all housing, right? I mean, market rate housing's great. If you increase the supply of any housing anywhere, it's going to increase affordability everywhere just because of supply and demand. But we also have to be more specific and more intentional about other forms, and that's where thoughtful subsidy comes in, and low-income tax credits, and a lot of other really technical stuff that makes most people's eyes glaze over, but it matters. And just the tax credits alone, we have not gotten historically our fair share of low-income tax credits from the state. We're working to change that, and again, I think you'll see quite a bit more specifically workforce housing in these developments as they develop along the river and elsewhere.
That's pretty cool. Something caught my eye was the 3D printed house thing. This was a very fascinating thing. We did a story about it in the Pulse a few months ago. It's working.
No, it is working, and thanks to Branch Technologies, a Chattanooga company that makes these 3D printed structures. They do 3D printed lots of stuff related to housing. But it came out of a meeting that I had with their CEO, now chairman at the time, Platt Boyd, because they were working on similar structures to use on the moon and with the UN for refugees. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, right? And I thought, well, hey, that might work to temporarily house some of our unhoused residents. And so we did a pilot, and it worked. And we were able to move people into those briefly while we're waiting to find them permanent housing. And we've got people rolling through those structures, and hopefully it's something we can expand.
One of the things that you've talked about a lot, even before you became mayor, it was kind of, when you were in the private sector, is, you talk about quality of life, but it's more than just roads and houses and buildings. It's also green, it's parks, it's greenways. And one of the areas of town that it's always been kind of there, but not really there, is Montague Park.
That's right. Yeah, Montague is such a jewel that just needs some polishing. And so big news, tomorrow we're going to unveil the big plan for Montague Park, the big reimagined Montague Park. We had a very, very high-flying landscape architecture firm come in and help us do a plan. And some of it's going to be soccer fields, which is great. Some of it is going to be a reimagined park with the sculpture field still there, but it's a really exciting plan, and it includes greenways to connect it better to the neighborhoods it serves, including East Lake to the south, and South Side, the sort of Jefferson Heights area. It really has the potential to be like Chattanooga's Central Park. And so 6 o'clock tomorrow, if you want to come out to Montague and see it, it's going to be.
And that would be Thursday the 27th, depending on when you're watching this video. You never can tell with YouTube. Everything lives forever. And Montague Park's had an interesting history. Sculpture Fields has been a fantastic addition there, and I wish more people would discover Sculpture Fields.
Yes.
It's amazing. But there's also were concerns in the past with contamination.
Well, it was a landfill. Okay, so I mean, yeah,
Right.
I mean, so but landfills, the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, TDEC, has been a great partner here locally. We have a lot of brownfields in Chattanooga that they're not radioactive, right? I mean, as long as they're capped and managed correctly, they're perfectly safe.
So
and
Montague
TDEC
Park is.
Absolutely. And we'll be planting more trees and increasing more tree cover in there as part of this plan. It's very exciting when you see the visualizations that they'll have at the meeting. I think Chattanoogans will be very excited.
And speaking of trees, the whole urban forestry, you guys have a grant. There's a new grant.
Biggest grant in the history of the city, $6 million from the Forest Service, of all places. You think about that being up in the mountains in the Cherokee National Forest, but to plant trees in Chattanooga and increase shade particularly in neighborhoods that have traditionally been neglected. So that's a big deal. I mean, that instantly, I think it takes up the budget of our forestry department, which we have in the city, by about 99%. So it's a big deal. We're really excited about it.
Wait, the city of Chattanooga has a forestry department?
We do.
You have an urban forester?
We have a forester. And again, why not, right? I mean, Chattanooga is a very green city. We need to preserve our tree canopy. We've had a forester for a long time.
I think that's pretty cool, but I do have one request. No more Bradford pears.
Yeah, I think we're over the Bradford pears. That was a big mistake. Not only do they cause terrible allergies, they snap like a twig at the drop of a hat. So we won't be planting any more of those.
Yeah, but that's cool. $6 million. That should buy a lot of trees. But it's also it's not just urban forestry. It's also beautification.
Yeah,
we're talking greenways.
Well, greenways, and again, we're trying to become North America's first national park city, and this is all part and parcel to that, right? Our green space really is our greatest competitive asset. It's what makes Chattanooga, as I tell people that visit, just look out the window, right? And that's what makes Chattanooga special. Every time somebody comes here from elsewhere to visit, it's the first thing they mention. So yeah, this is just leaning into that and doing more of that.
All right. Well, thank you for visiting us.
Thank you, Gary.
Tim Kelly, Mayor of Chattanooga, and for our monthly visit here at Brewer Media Group.